a bowl of cereal.
Okay. Yeah.
It's all in the context of I failed, so I might as well let go today, and I will start over tomorrow.
Right. Right.
Or in a week, or however much time.
Right.
So if you've said in your head, I've sucked, I've failed, screw it.
Right.
You binged.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. I get it.
Okay, good. You're binging. It's just relative to what?
Right.
But it is, the action in itself is the same as anybody.
Right.
Whether you're binging on an entire bag of chips or a bag or a bowl of chips.
Right.
Same thing. Did you do that before?
No.
Okay. For some reason, you think that it was the physical look that created peace, but in reality, it was the non-diet. That's why you felt so liberated. And you had so much mind space before. You were more created. You had other things you were focused on. Weight wasn't a vulnerability. And you didn't gain.
Right.
And it wasn't, and you could eat a lot more variety too. And you didn't feel like you were being deprived ever, because you could eat anything you wanted.
Yeah.
Okay? The problem is that you have been sucked in to the diet matrix. It is a disordered way of thinking, and it is taught by the diet industry, and you have yet to, once you're in it, it's very hard to get out. Because what happens once you start dieting is you start to feel, there's a sense of true deprivation, not only physically, but emotionally feeling deprived. Once you feel emotionally and physically deprived, you are now sucked into the matrix.
Yeah.
Because you feel you need reward, right?
Right.
So once you lose the weight, which you've done, you know how to lose weight. You know it. But the problem is, once you go into that sense of deprivation through dieting, you're going to rebound through an entitlement to overconsume. And then once you overconsume, there's guilt and shame, and you screwed it, so you might as well get everything you can in now because you can lose the weight later. And then you gain the weight, feel shitty about yourself, and then you enlist back again in a diet. You deprive yourself, you deprive your body, and then you feel like crap, and then you go back to eating normally, which you feel guilty and shameful about, and then you feel like you failed, so then you say, you know what, I'll just lose this weight later. Before, you didn't say you'd lose the weight later. Do you see?
Yes.
Am I painting this picture here where it's like, what was the difference? It's obviously you look different, but the biggest difference is your psychological thinking. Before, you wouldn't have allowed yourself the gain of weight. You wouldn't have overconsumed or binged. You didn't binge before, and you wouldn't have done it. Why? Because what's the outcome? Well, you'd gain weight. Well, now you're okay gaining weight because you can diet it back off.
Yeah.
So if we take away your diet, if you're never allowed to diet again, meaning you can't count carbs, count calories, you're not to weigh yourself ever again. You're not ever allowed to weigh yourself. Okay? You can't exercise this off. Now, I want you to put yourself in that mind frame. That it's not even an option.
Right.
Now tell me, how do you eat?
I eat clean.
Would you justify overconsumption?
No.
Okay, that's really where I'm headed. You wouldn't, would you?
No.
Because you'd have to accept the outcome of obesity and gaining weight.
Right. What's your thought on age and as far as premenopausal?
I think you're more sensitive hormonally to food, but what you're describing isn't menopause. You're describing a psychological illness.
I'm trying to figure out why I've put on the weight I've put on in the last year.
It's called dieting. Every time you diet, this is what happens. I don't even know you. You don't even have to tell me. And it's like I'm not surprised. And you're hormonally more sensitive, so the same game is causing even more damage.
Okay.
If you stop dieting, what's going to happen to your behavior?
Yeah,
you won't overeat anymore.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I'll make better choices too, I think.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to, if you're not going to be dieting, you're not going to be binging ever.
Right.
Why would you binge? If there's no diet to fix the damage.
Right.
Why?
Right.
It doesn't make sense, does it? No matter how tasty and delicious the food is, why would you overeat?
Right.
Now, do I sound like the old you?
Yeah. Yes, you do.
I know. We need to get you back to that frame of thought. Why would you overeat? You'd
Right.
have to accept the outcome of gaining weight.
Right.
The problem is you enlisted in a diet, and that enables this distorted way of thinking.
Right.
Diets are what is the foundation of your problem.
Right.
It isn't food.
Mm-hmm.
And by micromanaging food, you're perpetuating the psychological illness. And honey, I know you don't want to hear this, but you have an illness.
Yeah.
It's a distortion. You've distorted your view of who you are. You bought into this idea of weight. That's the other thing the diet industry has done for you.
Mm-hmm.
They gave you this picture
Yeah.
that you bought into.
Right.
That the way you look is what makes you more valuable. Would you teach that to your children?
No.
Because guess what? You are.
Right.
You're modeling it.
Right. Right. I am.
I know you are. I'm a mom too. And it's a really tough thing because we can say one thing, but our actions model something so different. My own mother never put me on a diet. Why would you put me on a diet? You know? But the moment she started criticizing her body, I bought into it.
Yeah.
She wasn't criticizing me.
No.
I know there's a lot of people whose parents also criticize their children,
I
and that's
do.
a really messed up situation.
Yeah,
But
right.
even if you're not doing anything intentionally, your actions are telling them what makes people more valuable or not.
Right.
And you hope that they're detached from that and they
But
can
they're
go,
not.
gosh, I know it. That's the sucky thing. But you have a lot of power to reclaim your autonomy, your emotional independence from using your body as the defining thing for your sense of well-being and worth.
Mm-hmm.
So could you accept your body right now? Like literally, if I were to say, hey, if I were to grant you a wish, and the wish would be this, psychological freedom from this, to where you don't have guilt with food, you don't want to overconsume, you just literally don't care about food anymore. You get hungry, you eat what you want,
Right.
not a bite more than you need. You know, so you're never overeating. You're just eating whatever you want, right? But you're going to have to stay the same weight. Would you rather stay in this psychological crazy for the rest of your life, trying to lose weight when you continue to gain? Because you realize that the more you diet, the more weight you're going to gain. Because you're gonna always be binging.
Right.
It just
Right.
can't. It's
Right.
just the way it works.
Right.
You can't diet and not binge. They both go hand in hand. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the risk with what I'm trying to tell you, because when I say to you, hey, are you willing to give up diets? What's the risk? That you stay the same.
Right.
So what I'm going to suggest is that you quit dieting. That this is not about weight loss. This is about diet loss.
Right.
This is the end of all diets.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to flip the diet industry off and tell them that you love your body the way it is and you don't need to lose weight. So therefore, you're going to eat as if you don't have a weight problem.
Right.
And then what happens to your body as a result?
Start to just.
Naturally, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're done. You literally can turn your back, wash your hands, and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And feel sorry for all the people who say, I got to go on a diet.
Right.
Because they are literally signing up for a form of insanity.
Right.
That is making billions and billions of dollars for someone's pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a huge industry based on a psychological illness.
We sure do.
I know. We do. And you are on the crazy train with the rest.
I know.
The moment you stop dieting, this will be over like this. The problem is you have to accept your body as it is the same. This brings us to where I started this conversation. What would you tell your own daughter in your body? You got to love yourself.
Right.
You're way more than just this.
Right.
Don't let someone else's idea.
Right.
It's marketing. You understand it. It's all in marketing for someone's money. They're going to create an ideal and say, you need to look like this.
Right.
And that's what's making her feel like crap.
Right.
And what would you tell her? Don't buy into it. They're trying to make you feel like you suck.
Right.
And if you buy into it,
you're on the train.
You're on the train and they control you. You are now being manipulated based on someone's concept. Like, if we make you feel like shit, and tell you we can make the shit go away, you're going to spend money on it.
Right.
And now who are you vulnerable to? Who do you listen to?
Everybody else.
That's what you become vulnerable to.
Mm-hmm.
So could you seriously let go of this ideal concept in your head from the past?
Mm-hmm.
Can you let your past dissolve and be in the now? Here's where you're at now. Can you still express your creativity today? Do you still have intelligence today?
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have endless opportunity today?
Yes.
Because you're pretty much no different than you were when you were 20.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
Your personality,
Right.
your vibration, your essence for life, your passions, your empathy for people is so much, even probably more profound than it was 20 years ago.
I would totally agree.
So your soul is even bigger, but yet you keep on shaming it because you say, nope, the body's got to be perfected.
Right.
It's crazy. What do you think would happen if you let go of dieting? Ate when you were hungry, and ate anything you wanted. Anything you wanted. No limits. You have abundance everywhere. Okay?
Yep.
Would you spend this much time? Would you choose to focus on dieting for the rest of your life?
No.
Okay.
No.
Wouldn't you kind of go, well, I have food everywhere. I can have anything I want when I need it.
Right.
Well, so why don't I focus my time on all sorts of other things?
Right.
Let's give back to the community. Let's focus in on getting educated and doing things and making humanity better. When I'm hungry, I'll go eat.
Right.
And not buy more than I need because I got way more to accomplish than focusing on, is that bad food? Is that good food? It's insane.
Right.
And the sucky part about kind of the diet industry cult, because it is kind of like a cult, is they make you feel as if it's morally defining.
Right.
You hear other people criticizing other people. Oh my God, they are eating that. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's serious moral criticism, putting people down because of the food that they're eating.
Right.
Now, I do get the ethics behind the food industry, but is it really a moral definition of you if you decide you want to have a cheeseburger?
No.
Is it morally? But it feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Based on whose dogma?
The dieting industry.
Thank you. To suck you into the vortex. It's a cult. Honestly, would you enlist your kids in a religion with this type of tainting?
No.
Because it's obviously not healthy, is it?
No.
You're a bad person if you do this. You're
Right.
a bad person.
Right.
Guilty, 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 shame.
Right.
How much of the day do you think about that? What percentage of your waking time do you think about your weight, your diet, and how crappy you feel about all of it?
A lot of my day.
Way more than is what's mentally healthy, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. From
Remember
the
what I
time
meant
I wake
by...
up, it's what I'm going to eat for breakfast.
And it's all based on what? On what picture did they show you? And that's what you're doing this for? So you've given your slave. You are a slave to it.
Yep.
And how much money have you spent on this shit?
God, I don't know.
You're about to spend a lot more, aren't you? Right here.
You know?
Again. I'm proselytizing. So let's get off the crazy train. Don't ever diet again.
Okay.
This isn't a diet. You're not to see it as a diet.
No,
This is your way to get off and never return. The goal is to eat when you're hungry.
Off of it. I just want out.
Yep. So guess what? Do I really care about your weight? Do I really care about how much you lose? If you focus on how much weight you're losing, what train are you on?
I'm on the diet train.
Yeah, you are. And you'll continue to be in that crazy train.
Right.
Do you want off? Or do you...
want
okay, so you have to
I
trust me.
Off.
You need to not weigh yourself. You need to not care about the results. Assume you're not going to lose an ounce. Make that assumption. That way you're willing to risk it.
Right.
You're not going to lose a damn thing on this protocol. But you know what you're going to gain? Emotional freedom from that bullshit.
Right.
And you're going to reclaim your sense of worth from the diet industry.
Right.
They aren't in control of your worth anymore.
No.
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!